Hey, how's it going? I'm going to show you some signs before I start talking. Okay, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to talk about here. I did pull some cards, but I want to talk first. So, first, well, yeah, I better say this first of all. Let's have a follicle focus first. My hair is like this because I went for a ride in the car with all the windows open. And it's going to take a shower to knock it down again. So I'm just going to leave it. It's not too hot, and I thought I wanted to see what it looks like on camera because it never looks like it does in, like, not on camera the way it does on camera, which is strange. Like, what's the enhancement feature there? Just the lens? Or more? Like, what's going on there? Anyway, so the reason why I just am not sure what I want to talk about or am putting off the cards is because I have this condition, and I like to call it crazy spraying. Crazy spraying. And it's like when I get a little bit crazy. And I definitely have more activity in my life than normal, and I'm just having to deal with more people, like one after the other, after the other, after the other. And I'm realizing that, oh my gosh, this is like the equivalent of, I can't think of the name of it, speedball, the hanging boxing bulb. Well, whatever they call that thing, I feel like that's what the people one after another is like. You don't, like, you don't get a break. And so many people are falsely representing themselves, and I've been going through this with people since 2015 with just BS people lying about who they are, and I'm like, God, why are you bothering me? Leave me alone. Because I'll talk to people until I can't anymore, and it's because I don't get to talk to people that much, so it's kind of infuriating, and it's hard to it's hard to not socialize at all for a long time. Like, eventually I just start to get ragged at the edges. But I talk about it so much I'm sick of myself, but it's either like a sincere actual person trying to get to know you, or me, and I'm not gonna like go all into that again, but I think it's really difficult now to I guess to date or whatever. Like, I don't know. Wow, I completely lost track of what I was saying. Oh, what the hell is this now? Oh, it is. Oh, it's from my salad earlier. It's a piece of garlic paper. Hooray. Crazy sprayer, though. And the people, yes. The falsely representing themselves people. Oh my God, in my hair now. Now my mouth is a magnet for stuff. Well, obviously it is, but I'm talking about debris right now. What the hell? I can feel something, I just can't see it. It's For the viewer, it's like a huge black mole. And I can't see a thing. Okay, I just am like way overstimulated, and it's like like too many people coming at me at once, and also like the Lionsgate, I guess, is really doing a number on me. It has been like a hard afternoon. Like the Lionsgate by itself is probably fine, but it's just amplifying stuff, it feels like. So I didn't know what to do with myself. I couldn't hang. Yeah, I kept trying to meditate and try to go to sleep, and that didn't work. And then so I was watching this teaching video, and I was like, okay, I can relax into this. And next thing I know, the thing is ending, and I'm like, wait, what happened? And I'm still like up like this, like I didn't go to sleep. I think I was in some kind of trance or something. Maybe I went to sleep. It didn't feel like it though, but I felt a little better when I woke up. But I mean, I don't know, like I've talked about all this astrological stuff, and then there's so many other things, I suppose, they could be adding to, whatever's got me all stirred up. And I'm sure it's not just me. But finally I was able to level off. And I was getting worried. Like, I know that I'm going to take a soak after this, a salt soak, because I still need work. But, yeah, I'm like, my ears are so hot right now. It's not because of the light. I'm just, I don't know, like on 11. It's crazy. It's hard to concentrate. So, with the people, I went the one step further in 2015 that they all, well, no, not all of them, because they didn't all want the same thing, but the ones that were scammers after money, like, they eventually got around to it. And they now, like, since 2015 to now, they're just brazen about it. They barely bother to butter you up. They just want to get your name and as many stats out of you as they can, and like, give me your Cash App or your Venmo. And I'm like, hi, how are you doing? Like, they don't even wait. No preliminaries. So I was very confused about this particular individual, and there's no way they can be who they say they are, but it was really hard to distinguish. It still is, but there's two huge red flags that are undeniable. So it doesn't matter if the guy's genuine or not. Whatever he's doing, no thank you. And I like blew money on this. So like, it's like it's the ultimate, like, if I do it again, just hand me a gun and just put me out of my misery. But I did it on purpose because I knew like I could totally be wrong. But I was like, just like do it and get it over with. But the thing is, I didn't want to. I wanted to do something completely else, and I couldn't talk myself out of it. Like, just doing what I actually wanted to do, because I had like made this obligation, and I felt like if I didn't do it, I would be hurting this other person. So they just and it was really elaborate. So it's just difficult to discern. Oh goody, a piece of carrot. You know what? Maybe I should have a drink. But as I told my caregiver, I was like, if this don't learn me, nothing will. um, I just I'm not even like really bummed about the money. I mean, of course I want it, but I needed to like learn this or something, or learn this curse word. Because I'm sick of me. But you know, like, this been going on for years, and this is like me putting the final dot at the end of the sentence here about it. But as irritated and as many emotions as I've gone through with this, I'm telling you, it's like there was barely a reprieve of just person after person after person. And for a while, when it first started happening, it was the same person, and the game was making me like guess it was them. And eventually I realized that, like, okay, these are lessons. Just try not to lose your mind going through them. And that's true, and that's a great way to look at it. But at the same time, I want to get the lesson learned, for one thing. Like, I thought I was done with it. It's stages. It's been going on in stages that, and I guess that's why it had to keep happening. But of course, right when I'm like at the end of this stuff and thinking like, what, not thinking why does it keep happening, you know, like at this point, I'm used to it. There's no point in asking that question. But it's not a question anymore. Like, I get it. It's not that I get one thing, I don't think. I think that there's all these different, like, avenues and aspects of, I feel like like I have to be taught how to spot it. But apparently that's the case. So I don't feel like I don't know. I don't feel that bad about it, but I don't want no more. I am ready to be done. Oh, well, yeah, I keep starting to say it and then I don't say it. I saw something, of course, right when this starts happening to me. I saw something about come on, brain. Scatterbrain. It's right there. About having the lesson over and over and over. And it was exactly what I thought it was. And I thought, okay, well, cool. Glad I got that right, at least. So, I mean, I think the thing that I mostly feel, I mean, I can accept it. I think that's why I'm more philosophical about losing the money. And okay, whatever, I'm stupid. But it wasn't like I was aware of what I was doing the whole time. Oh, and I neglected to mention this part. I was questioning this person the whole time and eyeballing their behavior, and in a lot of ways they did not act like a person. And it's weird that is the description that keeps coming to mind. And it's they didn't act like a person. And now that I'm saying that out loud, and I guess seeing myself say it, I'm wondering if it was a person. Because just like the ads that can listen to you, why can't AI listen to you and learn like everything about you and what you... I mean, it almost feels like that it can like get ahead of what you're thinking, like it's reading your mind. And I'm not sure exactly what's happening there. It could be maybe a combination of that and magic and anything else, but it's weird. It's creepy. But I mean, that was even if it was algorithm based, it was still reassuring to know that it is happening out there. Like, it's not just my experience where I'm thinking, it only happened to me, which is crazy. You kind of can't think that in this crowded world that anything happened to one person only. It just doesn't. It sounds so wrong. So the cards. I pulled from the oh, couldn't find the time. This deck, Shaman's Dream Oracle, number 10, Deep Diver. And boy, isn't that kind of what I was just talking about, that with each repetition of whatever you're repeating, you're going down another layer. I see something from the last reading I did, kind of bouncing back, mirroring, reverberating something. This is another card, but I'll get there. I actually really think this is cool. Oh, so it says, the subtitle says, diving into a task. Okay. Come on, you can do it. So if you'll notice the diver, I could not figure out at first, where's my indicator? There it is. I've been watching Conan O'Brien all day. Where's my indicator? Okay, so the diver's posture. I did not understand it at first. I really had to think about it. And it's so simple. But I mean, look at the fins. When I first saw them and I saw that weird posture, I was like, I don't understand. Is that like a mermaid or something? And then I saw that the fins are actually on two separate legs. And then I was looking at the legs and going, what? Something is wrong with that. And then I realized, diver. How do divers get in the water? Well, sometimes they step off the boat, but other times they just fall backwards. And that's why this guy's posture is so strange. This would be their butt area. Like, they just toppled over backwards. See what I'm saying? Like, they're still falling, kind of. But that's like the only way that makes sense. Like, they're going to finish unfolding this way. And it's that, boy, that is like the most obvious thing on these cards I've ever seen. And I also focused on the bubbles there, and I thought, well, if you're diving deep, you're letting off an awful lot of air, and I don't see any breathing apparatus. So I was confused by that, but let me confuse the issue a little bit more. Make sure I'm looking at the right thing. So, yes, I believe I'm looking at the right thing. Here, if these are the feet with the fins, this right here has got to be the head, and there's hair flaring out right there. Maybe you can see sort of, if you can imagine a mohawk almost. But, so this is the head, and it looks like, to me, the bubbles are just coming straight out of the core section, like your solar plexus area, your gut. And that led me to remember that in our stomachs and our hearts, there is neurological function. And I'm not even going to try to go into it, but maybe if you search stomach with a brain or heart with a brain or something along those lines, you'll see that they are their own little brain corporations or something, hamlets, whatever. But you didn't notice, like, the brain is a brain, and then, like, the heart has a little something extra going on, and the stomach. And that, I mean, that's like those organs are independently intelligent on their own. And that makes sense when you think of autonomous function. But does autonomous function have its own brain? Or is it not like a drone, like a bee drone that just like gets its order when it eats the the bee butt jelly? And if that's what they do, I don't know if the drones get to eat that. Whatever they eat some kind of they eat some kind of bee butt byproduct. Anyway, never thought of it, how much of a loop that is. And anyway, all these bubbles, I started thinking it's coming out of this gut, the stomach with a brain area, and I thought, what the heck are these stomach thoughts, or core beliefs, values, musings? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It could be anything, really. But I just thought that it was interesting that they were coming out of that gut section. And I even thought, well, maybe that's just a big blowing out of air, but it just doesn't really look to me like it's coming out of the mouth. It looks like it's coming out of here and just going all over the face before it goes up. I could have that completely backwards, but I'm going with, stop it. I'm going with what I see. So, it's interesting about the way they enter the water too. Like, I kind of always thought, well, why do some of them do that step and drop thing, just walk in, and others sit down and fall back? And to my way of thinking, to be sitting down and to just kind of relax into it, that feels really natural. And not that the other one's not either, but like, you're falling back and you're actually in the motion of falling, and that kind of makes sense with what you're doing. Most of us can't walk on water without a bunch of stuff done first. And I'm not talking that. I'm talking about you're on like a pleasure boat with your friends, and you're like fishing and drinking, and it seems like a good idea, I guess, if at a certain point, to put on some swim fins and pretend that you can walk on water. Two different approaches, actually pretty relaxed, both of them, because vacation trip and pretending you can walk on water and having no problems with falling in. That's you know what you're doing. So I will read what the guidebook has to say. Embracing risk, diving into a task, new discoveries. It's easy to play in the shallows, where the waters are clear and you can see all that glitters by your feet. Anyone can venture here. There's little risk, nothing to discover, no dark secret, nothing you can't already perceive. The treasure has long been picked away, replaced by a gentle certainty. In the shallow river is safety and no surprises. But that's not who's calling you now. The deep diver invites you to take the plunge with him. You can't see the bottom, but you must swim into the dark depths to find the mystery that eludes you now. He knows where the pearls lie underneath the ancient sands. You are called to look beyond the surface of things for your answer. Let your intuition propel you into the water, allowing your memories to swirl around you and your emotions to well up as you face the unknown. Your curiosity will be your greatest guide. You'll surely discover something wondrous to bring back to everyone who is waiting by the shore. But only you will truly know the value of your discovery. Are you willing to do the work? Dive in, make the commitment, and see it through, and you'll be amazed. I am amazed because that last bit about taking the plunge in that, like, I was talking about taking the plunge in yesterday's reading, so I just thought that was interesting, amusing. But the other thing was the part about definitely about letting the intuition like guide you. And in the water, it's saying let your intuition propel you into the water, allowing your memories to swirl around you and your emotions to well up as you face the unknown. I guess you can't really, if emotions are equal water and you get into the water, then everything is the emotion water. So you really are not escaping anything. But we can't get rid of our memories anyway. We can maybe stash them and compartment them, but you can't excise them completely, I guess. But doesn't it ever seem like you thought you buried something and all of a sudden it sneaks up on you and you're thinking this stinky, sneaky little thought, and you're like, wait a minute, I thought I was done with that. That's happened to me. Okay. You'll surely discover something wondrous to bring back to everyone who's waiting ashore if you follow your curiosity and let it be your guide, along with your intuition. But only you will know the true value of your discovery. Are you willing to do the work? I would think that enhances the value of your discovery, doing the work. Dive in, make the commitment to see it through, and you'll be amazed. So, what I was talking about earlier with going ahead and just like, going full force with the person that I definitely thought was like doing some kind of thing wrong, scamming or something, and just like I to get it out of my system. Well, we'll see if that happens. So just that's interesting to me. In these bubbles, it almost looks like, or it looks very much like, to my pareidolia, another form coming out of this person, like hidden within that column of bubbles. And I wonder if it's not some emotional self that needed to be shed, and given the environment, like you're not going to be able to kick it off your back like a dusty dog. You're going to have to expel it some other way. But maybe the form is just a representation of a cargo unit to encase the emotions and memories that you're done with. It's a case, it's a container, metaphorically. Anyway, okay, so I did pull some other cards, and 3 fell out. The one, oh, you just gotta run away from me, come back. So 3 fell out, but this was the one that looked like it was the one I was supposed to get because it just fell on me. And it is the hummingbird, and you know how they're so fast when they're flying? Have you gotten to see them up close? My caregiver has a couple of bird feeders, and they're pretty big. You won't be able to see. they're as big as a beach ball, about a small beach ball, and they have all these little spouts or snout spouts or whatever for the birds to stick their beaks in and drink the bird Kool-Aid. I don't think they're getting any ideas, notions. I think they're getting nutrition. Anyway, point is that they're very small and very fast, and something I never got to notice before was when I was at my caregiver's house in the car. I got to hear their wings, the sound of their wings beating in the air, and I don't know why, but that was intense, and I never heard it before, and they were darting around, so it was kind of like warbling a little bit, like but a much lower tone, like or higher, I don't know, smaller than my human one whooshing, but it's so crazy to watch them, and the way they maneuver, and they're just so quick to get out of each other's way. I guess they got that telepathic guidance system, though. But oh yeah, so in that light there, it's like the bird has reached the speed of light and broke the sound barrier. No, I think it's that it just generating so much speed and energy from within. It's just, it is kind of like that, like it's causing a burst as it's darting around in the dark, I guess. But that's, I think, also a metaphor. Don't do it. I'm thinking of that Rainbow song. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I think that they probably have a limited amount of time that they can be, and well, they got to drink the sugar. They empty that thing so fast, but she'll have like 20 on one of, she has two, she'll have like 20 on one and 20 or more on the other, like same thing more or less, but they'll be covered with birds basically, and it's like this crazy parking lot, like somebody can go in and like take some drink and back off, and somebody else can come in, but they're not in a line though. They're just in some structure that they can communicate to each other. It is like, it's funny because I was in the supermarket yesterday, and it was so crowded. Someone asked me how it was, and I said it was like Tetris. I guess it's sort of like that for this, but there's probably some game that's matches better for like a high speed sort of space dogfight, or it's not space, but well, they're hanging in this airspace. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. Now I'm just babbling. I will read from the book. Hummingbird. Positive, enthusiastic, spiritually resourceful. Inside the tiny hummingbird resides an endless well of energy and positivity. The hummingbird's secret is that it has learned where to gather nectar, and it returns to these sources daily for nourishment and rejuvenation. This sacred elixir springs from many sources, but usually involves nature, creativity, and exploring spirituality. Follow the way of the hummingbird, and you cannot go wrong. Each droplet of life becomes sweet. Every moment we're saving. Okay, now that sounds like my repeating problem, my repeating person problem. Savoring every droplet of life, even if it's maddening and frustrating, and until like you get some perspective, and you know, you learn not to take things so personally, like you do when you're down on the ground. And I don't know, it's hard to gain perspective because everybody's kind of there right with you, and their lives are Tetris before they get to the crowded store for more Tetris. Sorry, I'm getting all cracking myself up. Uh, when in balance, smart, curious, loves to learn. When out of balance, pushy, insistent, sharp. To bring into balance, take a class. Well, that's interesting. Now I'm going to start saying that every time I open my mouth. No. Get a new word. That's of interest. Just kidding. I'm not sure exactly how this applies. I think I need to continue. And I kind of don't want to read these because one of them I've read a bunch of times and one of them I've read only once, but it's striking me just on its own, so we'll see how it goes. So the nightingale is this bird that is, I always say it's drab because it's just this brown sort of roof shingle colored bird, even if you've ever seen brown shingles, and it probably would get passed over because of more flamboyant birds with their color on their plumage. And even the males of this species, I guess, are pretty wearing a costume, almost like done up and colorful. And I've seen the mating dance. It's quite an affair. Lots of flapping and ducking the neck and pigeon toeing or whatever. It's I I think everyone should see it at least one time in their life. But the thing about the nightingale, while everyone's being all fancy and sucking up all the oxygen in the area, the nightingale just bides its time and lets everybody run their course and finish being all loud and sort of making noise and signifying not much. So you're wind down, you know, like where the crowd starts to thin out. Here comes the nightingale, like that interminable party guy that shows up with an acoustic guitar. The nightingale waits for her moment, but by then everyone is, you know, pretty relaxed, like they're kind of too drunk or stoned to protest much, and then she opens up her mouth and look at that beautiful noise comes out. It's just white light, like of spirit. And I'm not sure, but what I'm getting is that the person watching will have this image, this vision of the the nightingale being heard by the whole world, and the whole world being kind of stunned and amazed that, wait, this little bird says all of that and it's bringing me to tears and making me want to hug my fellow man? What's up with that? I think we would be about that speed of what's up with that, because it's I know it's been happening to me for a while, where I'm just all a wet tissue of, I submit, I love you. I guess maybe it's like ecstasy light or something. But anyway, back to the cards. And this last one I pulled, so I have read the guidebook, what it has to say, a long time ago, but what I do remember is this is a planner, this is an architect, this is someone that directs flows, and also, because it's where they catch their food, they're a weapons designer. But it's like the spider's right in the center of its web, which it hasn't finished. But it, from a perspective thing, it's kind of like making me bug out a little bit. But instead of being the flat surface in the center, it starts to sort of concave down into almost a cone. So it looks like something else from yesterday, which was, or maybe it wasn't yesterday, the day before, something, but about being down in a well. And it looks like, oddly enough, the brighter area, which would be the case if it was closer to the sun and therefore at the top, looks like it's at the bottom. So I don't know, like that's maybe oil sheen down there making that weird rainbow that's like yellow and orange and green only. That weird chemical rainbow thing. And this is not to say that the spider can't get out of it if it is a hole, because they don't even need to climb, really. If they can get their butt situated the right way, they can catch their webs on like electric currents in the air or something, which is why they can just be flying through the air when there's no foothold or wall or tree. And I've never seen one, but I've definitely had like all of a sudden like web in my hair, and I'm around no wall, like in the middle of a park or something. Like, where the hell did that come from? And of course I learned where the hell that came from, or I learned about why it did that decades later. Thanks, that's going to do me a lot of good now. But anyway, what I wanted to focus on was the optical illusion of how that sort of looks like the spider looks like it's down in a hole, but it can get out at any time because it can climb. It doesn't have to shoot webs, so it's got more than one option. It's got 8. Ooh, I am not sorry I said that. I don't care. It's cracking me up. And the pillar of bubbles, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for this, so I'm not going to say it would be like the hole, the plug. I don't know what it means. I just saw it. But all I know is this person has got some serious thinking to do. Like, they're so intent on like maybe the bubbles as well, but maybe what's going on in their life, or what's happening in the water. It actually looks pretty pristine. And at that level, I'm not sure what you might be able to see in regard to what doesn't belong there, but this all looks pretty clean. And they're unconcerned about like how long it's going to take them, or even what may be there, because I don't know if they've been let into this particular building before, but there they are. And I lost the word, but it was something about I don't know, the water filling the plug of the rainbow well hole, or well hole. Just well, it's well alone. But the weird thing about it is, like, yeah, sure, if this was like a funnel type situation, if that's the direction they were going, it wouldn't hold water. That's what I'm saying. So you got a lot of plans, but they're bubbles. They're gonna break at the top of the surface maybe, and your safety net has kind of a lot of holes in it, and your water. So step carefully, dive, get what you need down there. There's nothing there, remember, there's no treasure. So I guess it's a metaphor for going deep within while you're deep diving, and you just make a loop where you're just stuck thinking about it until you figure that out. But can't rely on this, even though the planner, the planner may have other plans. Like maybe they don't care about the water because that's gonna sluice right through, but maybe they don't want your big heavy self to also fall through there, or fall to there and then through and destroy their work. And by the way, can the spider get out of the way fast enough? I don't know. But they know this is coming, so they're not worried about this idea bubble business destroying. It is the diver. So I don't know how the diver gets from here to here, but this is at the bottom. Remember I said it was at the bottom earlier? And so eventually it's going to get there. But since everything's in water, I guess there's no falling through. That is also not a real and solid thing, but an idea. And the final thing, while I got to that completely kind of squirrely area of thought, was that not only is it a flat web or a funnel hole well web, it's a spiral. And so spirals can go either way, like a drill. And so can this guy. It could go either way. Somehow that links together, but I can't concentrate. My head is so hot right now. I'm gonna stop and then I'll write some more about it in the collection box. I'll write it in the collection box. Whatever. Thank you and good night. Good grief, I'm hot.